Welcome to this overview of PL200. I'm Gill Walker, and PL200, the Microsoft Power Platform Functional Consultant exam, is the latest exam that I have passed. So today I'm going to share with you an overview of what you can expect if you choose to sit this exam, what you need to know if you are to pass this exam. There are 5 broad topics included in the PL200 exam, and they are configuring the Microsoft Dataverse, creating apps using Power Apps, creating and managing Power Automate, implementing Power Virtual Agent chatbots, and integrating Power Apps with other apps and services. Here you can see roughly how those 5 topics are split up in the exam as a whole. So they are definitely not equal. And the ones that you really do need to be across are configuring the Dataverse and creating apps. Now, don't get too hidebound on how these topics are measured. This is based on the overall marks, and different questions will have different ways of being marked. So the first topic that you really do need to know inside out, upside down and back to front if you are to be successful in this exam is how to configure the Microsoft Dataverse. Now you might be wondering what on earth the Microsoft Dataverse is. If I had made this video a year ago, this would have been the Common Data Service. And if I'd made this video 5 or maybe a few more years ago, we would have been talking about the SQL Server database structure and how to manage it. In between those two, you would have learnt all of this in a configuration course from Microsoft, from us, or from another learning partner. So within that topic of configuring the Microsoft Dataverse, there are 4 subtopics. You need to be able to manage the data model. You need to be able to manage processes, in other words, automation inside Dynamics. You need to be able to configure the Dataverse, and you need to be able to configure security settings. The next topic that you need to be across is the ability to create apps using Power Apps. And within that, you need to understand model-driven apps, canvas apps, and portal apps. The third topic is the various ways that you can automate Dynamics 365 or Power Apps. And within this topic, you need to be able to create flows, create and manage business process flows, and build desktop flows. The next topic is implementing Power Virtual Agent chatbots. And here you need to understand how to create chatbots, how to configure topics, and how to configure entities. And a small word of warning for you, entities here are not what we now, with the change in terminology, call tables. This is a completely different use of the word entity. The final topic is the ability to integrate Power Apps with other apps and applications and services. A big one here, as you would expect, is the ability to work with Power Apps and Power BI. But additionally, you need to be able to implement and use AI Builder, and you need to be able to use Power Apps with Microsoft 365. Should you consider doing this exam? For me, the answer is definitely yes, if you are or thinking of being a dynamic solution architect, a Dynamics business analyst, a technical consultant, or a business product owner for a Dynamics 365 implementation. This last one is something that not a lot of people will say, but if you or your organization are thinking of deploying Dynamics 365 in the immediate future, you will get far better value out of the implementation and out of your vendor if somebody, preferably the product owner, has this understanding. So I would strongly recommend it for you. For the rest of this video, I am going to go through some sample exam questions, and this is to give you an idea of the sort of questions that you will encounter when you do this exam. So here's a question about the Dataverse. You are a functional consultant in an organisation that needs to record attendance at events. The event table has a 1 to n or 1 to many relationship with the attendee table. You need to ensure that when the owner changes on an event record, that all the attendee records are assigned to the new owner. What relationship behaviour type should you choose? So this question, of course, is testing your understanding of relationships between tables and specifically the behaviour of those relationships. The 4 possible answers that you're offered are here: referential, restrict delete, parental, and restrict. So which of those is the way to ensure that on assigning an event record, all the attendee records are also assigned? The answer is parental. And a parental relationship is one that the behaviour, when something is done to the parent record, that same act. A previous functional consultant at your organisation has partially created a Power BI report to display account information. You need to create a Canvas app that displays this account information and include the app in a new Power BI report. Which 3 actions should you perform? This type of question seems to be quite popular at the moment, where you have to choose 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or sometimes as many as 6 or 7 statements out of more than that, and sometimes you then need to put them in order. In this instance, you don't need to put them in order. So the statements or the actions that you're given are these 5. Publish the report to the Power BI service. Connect to the common data service from the Power BI desktop. Connect to the common data service from the Power BI desktop and select the required fields from the account. From the Power Apps insert menu, add a Power BI tile. From the Power BI desktop menu, insert a Power Apps visualization and include the required fields in the Power Apps data. A question like this, my first approach is to try and rule out the incorrect ones. So in this case, we've got 5. We've been told that 3 of them are required. So which are the 2 that are not part of this task? Well, the answer is those 2 in the middle. And in this case, that is all we need to do. Sometimes we do need to put those steps into the correct order. Your company has had decreased sales over the past several months. You suggest using sales forecasting based on AI Builder. Which 3 steps do you need to do and in what order? So this is similar question type to the previous one, but now we will also have to put the steps in order. So these are the 7 steps, and we've got to rule 4 of them out. So the 7 steps that we're given: train the AI model by using data exported to Microsoft Excel. Export data from the Common Data Service into Microsoft Excel. Train the prediction AI model by using Dataverse data. Import the AI model analysis into the Dataverse. Publish the AI model. Train the category classification AI model using Dataverse data, and use the model with Power Apps. Now straight away we can see here that we've got 2 train options, and it's a very high probability that there is only going to be 1 train step. And if we look back at the question, it's talking about sales forecasting. So that is more likely to be the prediction model than the category classification model. So I'm going to rule out the category classification model. I also think we can rule out Excel as being part of this. So those first 2 I'm going to rule out. And then we also have to rule another one out. So we're now left with train the prediction AI model using Common Data Service data. That should of course be Dataverse data. Publish the AI model and use the model with Power Apps. And the final step for this is to arrange those 3 in the correct order. And that is the correct order. So to get full marks for this question, you would have to identify those 3 steps and end up with them in that order. The final question: your organisation has recently deployed a Power Virtual Agent chatbot. You have been tasked to find out when the bot passes to live agents. Which metric should you use? This question is testing your knowledge of the metrics that come with Power Virtual Agents. The 4 options that they give you are engagement over time, session outcomes over time, escalation rate drivers, and escalation rate. Now, when the Power Virtual Agent bot gives up and hands over to a human being, that is escalation. So it is probably going to be one of the final 2 options. And the question is specifically asking when the bot passes to a human being. So escalation rate driver is the best of the options. On this slide, I'm giving you a few useful references to help you with your study of PL200 and any other Microsoft exams, be they Microsoft Dynamics or other areas. And finally, of course, if you would like further help with your PL200 or any other Microsoft exams, please do reach out to me. I would absolutely love to hear from you, and I'm certainly very happy to help you succeed in this exam or other exams. Over the next few weeks, I will be recording some further videos that go into each of these topics in significantly more detail. Watch my LinkedIn page, watch my YouTube channel, because that's where they will appear. Thank you, and I wish you all the best in your PL200 exam.